Shadow Minister, a week into your job, how's it going?
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I felt very privileged to be asked to do the job. And obviously, I'm shadowing Vince Cable. I'm the Shadow Business Secretary. He's the real Business Secretary. And there has been some debate about, obviously we're different generations. He joined the Parliament at a different time to me. But what I've been saying to people is really it's not about me or Vince. What it's about are the issues that we're talking about, which is jobs and growth. And there are 2.57 million people out of work in this country at the moment, and we need to work out how we get growth back so that we get them back into jobs. And so that's very much going to be my focus, and that's why I'm here at this kitchen factory and retail outfit to find out what they're doing to succeed as a business. They weathered the recession very well here, but also what further we can do to help them grow so that they can employ more people. There are over 80 people employed here at the moment. We obviously need medium-sized businesses like this to continue to grow and to continue to prosper if we're going to get the private sector growth, which will see the recovery completed, which is stalled at the moment under this government.
But you mentioned 80 people. I think here in Thurrock there's about 80 people going for each job.
Yeah.
What's your message to those people?
Well, my message to those people is it's incumbent and it's absolutely essential that the government implements a plan for growth and jobs now. We can't wait any longer. We saw in the first half of this year growth stall. In fact, we haven't had growth in the economy since the autumn. So we've put forward a 5-point plan which we hope and are confident will deliver for people living here in the east of the country. So, for example, we've said that they should repeat a bank bonus tax on the bankers and use that money to build houses and to get a new youth employment scheme in place. That would help over 4,000 young people here in Thurrock and in the other parts of the eastern region to get back into work, and it would also lead to over 1,500 new homes being built. We've also said that we think that the hike in VAT, which the government imposed on families at the beginning of the year, should be reversed, and that we should also have a targeted VAT cut to 5% for businesses like this operating in the home improvements and repairs industry. That will help them get orders flowing. It will enable businesses like this to employ more people. That VAT cut to 5% is supported by this business and supported by many others around the country. There are other things we've suggested, like, for example, having a national insurance break for micro businesses all over the country. At the moment, the government has given a national insurance break to micro businesses, but not those in the south and in the region that we're in at the moment. We're saying that you should have a NI break for all micro businesses taking on extra employees around the country, again, to encourage them to take on people, again, to get growth back into the economy. So my message is to people living here who are out of work, we've got very clear proposals and a plan here, a 5-point plan to help get you back into work. And what we've all now got to do is to put pressure on the government to implement that plan without further delay. For inviting me to come and be here with you this afternoon. My colleague and the councillors told me of how this place, this building in particular, has been transformed from one which was a bit of a problem maybe for the community into one which is an engine room for positivity. I knew that I had to come here, and Pastor, thank you for making me feel so welcome. I don't intend to talk for very long, because as John said, the worst thing is to have these politicians who just, go on and on and on and on and on and ramble on. But let me just say a bit about where we find ourselves as a country, and of course where you find yourselves as a community as well. We are facing a huge challenge at the moment because we have an economy, frankly, that hasn't grown since the autumn of last year. We have a 0% growth for the last 9 months. And I feel for a lot of people, even now, a lot of this will be a bit abstract. But you may have noticed more boarded up shops on the high streets, not just here, but also in other parts of the country. That is one of the first signs of the difficulties that you see in an economy when you see a high street struggling. And the really worrying thing for us is not just, and of course this is the number one thing for people, that 2.57 million people are out of work at the moment, and Johnson just referred to the figure in relation to young people in this area in particular, but a lot of these statistics that we are seeing are statistics that relate to a period before the government's extreme austerity cuts have really begun to feed through, and before what you have seen happen in the Eurozone countries on the continent in Europe, before that has really impacted on our economy. So if we're in a difficult situation based on the statistics that we have seen at the moment, it could be a lot more difficult. And I hope that doesn't happen, because if it does get even more difficult, that is going to impact on families in this community even more than it has already, and up and down the country. That is very much the short to medium term challenge we're facing, and we're all very worried about it. We've got a longer term challenge too. I think it is fair to say that this is the first time in my lifetime, and I'm 33 today, so I'm not I'm not that old, but I'm also, I suppose, not that young. But it's probably the first time, I think, in my lifetime that the older generations really do doubt whether the younger generations, the children, the new generations and their family, are going to go on to do better than them. You know, that their prospects of getting a job will be better than the prospects of their grandparents, that their prospects of being able to buy and own a house will be better than the generations that have gone before them. And at the moment, people are feeling very negative about all of those indicators, about the promise of this country for future generations. Now, this really goes to the heart of why we have such profound difficulties and differences with what the government is proposing. Because to my mind, and you can tell me whether you agree with this or not, what on earth is the point in withdrawing investment from the younger generations, the very people we are looking to grow our country in the future? Why do that? Why take away education maintenance allowance, which encourages lots of people in this community, in communities all over the country, to go into further education and hopefully, maybe if they wish to, higher education? It's all about investing in them so they produce future prosperity. Why take it away from them? Why impose tuition fees of £9,000 on our young people, erecting a massive obstacle to people who are thinking about going on into higher education? It doesn't make any sense to me, because we are saying we expect all these things from our young people, but we're not meeting our part of the bargain. I also think there's a wider thing, and in fairness, this isn't just about the government, this is a cultural thing, and I don't mean in the sense of a kind of ethnic cultural dimension, but I mean a culture of us as a country. And it goes to what Ed Miliband was talking in his conference speech about. This is about the, if you like, something for nothing society that we have become in some respects. I think one of the most important gifts we can give to our young people, and I'll finish on this because I'm really interested to hear your views, and I think the church in particular does wonderful work in getting the right message across here. How can we get to a situation where the younger generations who are pumping all this consumerist stuff into their heads through Sky, through them sitting in front of PlayStation, Xbox, we all know these things, I can see people nodding. How do we get to a position where in this country we move towards a society where we define ourselves by who we are as opposed to what we have?